Hi and welcome back to the channel, guys. So the car's flipped round. If you haven't seen the previous episode, we got the seal cut off this side, and yeah, let's just get cracking with some repairs. So a general kind of consensus for this side is it's a bit better. It's not the best, but it's a bit better. It's going to be a bit quicker to repair, I'm hoping. So in this episode, what we're going to try and tackle is the front part of the floor, which is probably the worst part of the rot. There's a small hole here to kind of put in a bit of a repair, which I can sort out. It's not a problem. I might do that off camera, or I might just quickly time lapse it and show you guys how I do it. But yeah, the biggest thing really is get the front floor sorted, because if you haven't seen the previous episode that I put out of this side of the car, there's some funny stuff going on, so go and check it out. I wasn't expecting it. This car, from looking at it, doesn't it, it looks so genuine, like, but when you see that repair, you're just like, your mind just gets blown. Yeah, so going on from that, the repair at the front was just a bit odd, but we kind of got a bit of a plan. So I'm going to bring you in now and I'll show you what we've got to work with. I've moved a bit of the interior stuff out of the way just so we can get to what we're doing, and make a bit of a game plan. But I can see us kind of doing a little bit of a mirror image of the other side at the front, and then it would just be some small repairs at the back. You know from Simpsons Classics, if you watch it, that it's restoration and preservation, and with cars like this, it's literally not worth cutting out stuff you don't need to cut out. We didn't have a choice on the other side. There wasn't anything there. You probably left about that much metal that was original, so you just got rid of the lot. But this side, you kind of got about that much of the floor. Kind of, it's still absolutely fine. Like all the inner sills mint and stuff like that. All the door steps fine on it and stuff. So I want to keep as much of it as I possibly can. Makes my life easier. I haven't got to brace the door and stuff like that. I can just cut sections out and repair sections, and it would become stronger the further I go. But on the flip side of that, it kind of keep as much of the original vehicle as possible. You clean back and repair as much as you can. You can rust treat as much as you can, paint and cavity paint and stuff. It is a lot better doing it this way. I prefer doing it this way. I feel like I'm keeping some of the car. But like I said, on the other side, wasn't a choice. So let's bring you guys in. Let's show you what I've got to play with. On this side, obviously we've got the rot on the floor. So right in there, you can probably just about see there's a weld line. So we obviously had that horrible patch, if you've seen the other episode, that kind of wrapped around there. And then there's another patch that's covered all what probably was looking really awful in there. Bottom of the flitch is gone again, I think, as well. But there's kind of a dirty bit of tape here. That's kind of where we're going to go to with this new panel. Exactly how we went with the other side. So we'll come along here and we'll put incorporate all up to here on the inner sill, all of that, and put a whole new half floor pan in, basically. Absolutely no point putting the whole floor pan in, because it's under all this paint, like glue and stuff. It's really good. It's absolutely no point doing it. So we're going to kind of go up to there. Obviously make a piece for the underside of this, and then this is kind of where we've got to. So this is just kind of the inner sill that's gone. Obviously you can see how nice all this is, how actual rust free the flute is as well. Look. So I'm not going to go cutting all this out. There's absolutely no point. So obviously we're going to treat as much as we possibly can, but if it's rotten, it gets cut and it gets welded. But yeah, let's get cracking with it and let's see what we got. But first, we're going to need some panels. Voila! So we've got some panels. We've got an inner sill, which obviously we don't need this part of it, but this section and the profile of that section will repair the rest of the inner sill that's there. So it will just look a lot easier, a lot quicker, just to get that. We've obviously got the seal, which I prepped. It's all ready to go. It's all kind of painted. And we've got Magnum floor pan. So Magnum come with these weird kind of zinc coatings now. They don't come. That's the Magnum panel, that's the Magnum panel. They don't come like that anymore, and thank God, because this paint's atrocious. My mini sidewalk's got this paint on the inner wings, and the person that did the paint job on it, I asked for it to go to bare metal because I know how this reacts, and it's all micro blistered, and it's just a really rubbish coating. 9 times out of 10 the metal under there is awful, so I always sand it back and go back to bare metal, prime it properly. But now they come like this, which obviously looks a lot more fantastic, but also it's going to be a lot better to weld, I'm hoping. There is a coating on it, it's not bare, but yeah, it's a Magnum panel, and obviously where the repair was on what we had, we're going to put all this in. So basically where that sticker is roughly all the way along, and put all that back in. So it'll look how it should look, but also we're retaining it, and then we can save this piece for a rainy day if we ever did anything else. So probably utilise most of this and then do that. But while we're on the subject, these panels came from Minimine, and if you would like to get 10% off your next purchase with £15 or more spent, you can get your panels and everything ordered from Minimine. So there's a discount code now along the bottom of the screen. Go check it out, get on there, phone calls, website, eBay shop, use the code and get yourself 10% off your panels as well. So literally we can crack on. I went in there, it's a one-stop shop, got everything needed, sorted. So let's get going with this video. Go check out Minimine, Instagram, Facebook, and get your parts ordered, guys. Right, so we can just compare. You can see a little bit easier now, or kind of how that was stitched together there. But oh look, no pair of gloves, bites the dust. But yeah, you can kind of tell that that is meant to be that section. Nice. So yeah, that's that. That's the worst bit cut out. So get some pictures for the gram, and then obviously we'll trim the car back and start lining something like that up, but loads of trimming to do now, so I'm going to get cracking with that, and yeah, bring you guys back in 2 minutes. Right, so fast forward another kind of 10-15 minutes and it's all cut. So I've just got to clean back this edge. I've wire wheeled all around there and that's all decent. It's just a minor bit of surface rust kind of along that where all that sounding there was seam sealer all over that, so you can kind of see it's just started to go a bit crusty, but it's not rotten, it's just kind of up where it's the moisture's got underneath it a bit. So the rest of it is literally just kind of paint. It's kind of peeling off in places, but the underside of it's really good. So again, like on that side, it's kind of where the oversill was, and on this side it's kind of just where that repair was, almost acting like an oversill that was there. So we now got obviously that panels trim. What I have done is trimmed out all from underneath here as well, and you can see obviously my grinder, and I've cut this piece out, which is all it needs this side. So all I've got left to trim out is basically where the spot welds are going to be, or in our case the plug welds along there, and then we can start kind of mocking the floor up. Right guys, so like you say, this is all trimmed up and you just saw me chop this panel. So let's try the test fit. So what I've done is, a lot of people ask how can you cut the floor pan out and not necessarily need to brace the car. So the reason, if this is a bit solid around the box section of here, I never take this off the doorstep. I guess it's a bit of a tip, but the structure's still there. The car's almost bracing itself. I wouldn't ever do any more than this. Like on the other side, obviously I cut the whole lot out and that bit barely was connected, so I braced it. This side's a lot more solid, so that's kind of, I guess, a top tip. Just don't cut out what you don't need to, really. This is all really good along here, all the way along the top of the inner sill, kind of back from there is absolutely fine. So here's this panel. I still can't get over these Magnum panels being in this colour, it's a bit weird, but so what I've done is I've taken a slot out of the inner sill there. It's a bit jagged. I've cut a slot out, so that obviously will be welded from the inside, and this will be the bit that's plug welded. So it also allows you, because the floor panel comes a bit longer than what you kind of see. This piece goes under the box section, which obviously we're missing that as well. So it's quite good. So let's slide it in, and that goes up to there. just try and get it up. There you go. Right, let's get a clamp on it just so we can hold it still while I show you where we're at. So, right, so obviously it's going to pull it because it's trying to do that, but that is perfectly flush along the doorstep. It's butt up to the front of the flitch here, which is really good. Obviously we have a cut out for the flitch because it needs repaired. That lines up pretty well, to be fair, at the back there. It's not the best profile because it's a Magnum panel. I'm not going to go start slating panels because they are what they are. It's quite a good pressing really for a Magnum panel. It's not bad at all, this. But you can kind of see I've kind of got a nice line there, and then obviously where I've cut it, I've left way too much so I can trim it back. Which is why my line wasn't perfect when you saw me do that initial cut of this panel. I just wanted to get the worst of it off because obviously I didn't need any of that bit. So what I'm going to do now is, the fact it's absolutely fine on the doorstep, is I'm just going to use my Sharpie, hold it as tight as I can to there, or you could use the tech screws straight through it and then cut it, which is what I did on the other side. But this is a bit of easier panel to manage. The reason I did the tech screws on the other side is that was basically the whole length for the car, and it was pretty difficult to try and kind of hold that, mark it, cut it. So I just tech screwed it all together, which meant I had to weld up the tech screw holes. But it's no biggie really. So as you can see, I hope you can see that from the video there, it kind of goes right under this box section and it ends halfway, which is sorts half the problem that we've got under there. And then obviously I've got the inner seal that will sort the rest of that. So yeah, it's quite nice along there. I've got a bit of a nice gap to weld to there. So like I say, that's about where it wants to be, bang on there. So the profile, again, I need hammer and dollying around, a bit like I had to do on there. But with a bit of fettling, you can get it to look really quite nice. So that doesn't bother me. There is one saving grace to these Magnum panels, is they're quite thin in comparison. So it is worth bearing that in mind. You can, but it does, when you've got things like this, it helps you to be able to get it to fit. So that's the best way to describe it. So I'm going to get this marked off. I'm going to get what I don't want chopped. And then, well, we might as well clamp it up and let's get it welded into the car, because that'll be a massive chunk of this done then. So let's get marking up. So I've got my hand completely flat under it, and let's just scribe it. It's the best way to do it. And then obviously if you're used to cutting anything, well, that's not a very good pen, is it? Well, there you go. Always cut that side of it, and then you obviously got your better weld line. That's one tip I'd say. So I'm going to trim that up, and then yeah, let's get going with it. Right guys, there we have it. So it's matched up quite nice with the flutes. Obviously we've got a bit of a flitch repair to do there, but yeah, pretty happy. The line's not as good as I've got it that side, but once it's welded you can hammer and dolly it, and that's what I will do. So just where it's got a bit warm, there's a bit of distortion there really. That's kind of the only quibble I've got with it. One thing to note when you're doing these, that's an end machine panel that side, that's a obviously Magnum panel. These are a lot thinner, like I mentioned earlier on in the video, but yeah, it's in, and it's kind of gone to about under here, so I have just got a piece to make to come further back, obviously in a sill. I cut a bit of the floor out here because it was quite corroded, so kind of got a little piece to put in there, but then it will connect with the inner sill and stuff like that, so I'm quite happy with it. And then that's all of that done then. It's basically going to get done with a couple of panels, which is obviously, I wasn't really expecting it to kind of be like that after what it looked like when I started. Obviously that side's got the panel front all the way to the back, and that's sorted that, but this side just wasn't like that. It was just didn't need that kind of work. So yeah, obviously we'll get this a bit private on this. Right guys, so that kind of brings us to quite a good ending point for this video. So we've got basically the front floor pan in, and quite a lot of the inner sill, because the floor pan comes with the inner sill. So I've kind of got that much to make up, and then we're onto the repair at the back, and then we're onto the sill. So really chuffed with that. So yeah, not a bad few hours work there. Quite happy with it. So I'm going to chuck some primer on it, and then I'll tidy it back once I've got all the welding done. That's probably the best point of call for it. But yeah, on to the next job, which will be repairing the inner sills and stuff like that. So what I'll probably do is time lapse a lot of that, because it is just basically me cutting a piece of the inner sill out, splicing it into the car, and then we'll crack on and get the seal on, because then this car's coming together quite nicely then. And then we've got wood to do, which again I'm not too sure if we're going to film, because me and Miss Simpson like doing that. It's quite a fun job to do together, so we'll see how we get on. We've got that to do, and then we're going to detail and wash the car. I can't wait to wash this car. Look at the green on the window. I honestly can't wait to jet wash it and clean it. So that's all from me today. I am going to stop babbling on. If you haven't already, please check out our sponsors. Minimine obviously helped with the panels. They supplied the panels for this, and yeah, can't knock them. And Magnum panels are what they are. You get what you pay for value wise. But you know, if I was to potentially pick a panel that I like the most, obviously I would go for Heritage welding wise. But to be fair, these Magnum panels, they go in alright. As long as you know what you're doing with them, they go in alright. They're not too bad. Obviously, if you haven't already, use the discount code along the bottom, guys. Get your mini parts ordered up from Minimine. So it's Simpsons APR. Get that ordered. Drop in the link description below if you want to find their eBay shop or their website. And yeah, get buying your bits, guys. Also, check out Frost Restoration for all your restoration needs. You know, your paint supplies and tools and bits and pieces like that. And yeah, if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up. You guys are really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying doing this because you guys are enjoying doing this, so it's really getting me out here. And yeah, obviously we are really pressing on with this. One thing to note, guys, we are very close to 5k subs. Very close. And that is an amazing feeling. So thank you very much for that. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And I will catch you in the next one when we get more rust out of this car.